Hello guys, welcome back and welcome to the new and returning player beginner guide tutorial tips. And this is going to be an updated video to help new players understand what is happening, what to do, and how to start the game in the best way. Because there are some ways that are better than others of how to approach the game. Now, first of all, this video is going to be structured in different topics, so you can at the bottom check the timestamps and go just check whatever you want to need. You might not need everything, you might just need a couple of things. Go and find the topic that you like and it will be having a timestamp. Now, that said, let's begin. First of all, when you start the game, you will start and you will have to do the story. Now, when you do the story, you consume stamina. Now, stamina is a resource that it's common in gacha, and you can use it to do many things. You can use it to farm materials on the farm stage that you will eventually unlock. But first of all, you need to do the story. By doing the story, you will unlock more and more features of the game that you don't have unlocked when you start. On top of the current event that you can see here, I have floored to the Golden City, that you won't have access to until you finish a certain chapter. Now, I believe the basic finishing of the chapter of the story that the game intends is chapter 4. Once you conclude chapter 4, which is the main based 1.0 story, then the others might not need to be cleared immediately unless you want to unlock certain parts of the game that are not essential. But when you unlock the story and you finish doing the story, you will unlock the farming stages. And this is where most of your stamina goes. It either goes to the farming stage or it goes to the stages of the current event. Because when you go and click on the event will have its own story. That you start from zero and you progress through the story until you reach the end. And at the end, usually there is a boss fight. You can tell because there are a couple of difficulties on that stage. And by clearing that, you're gonna get some coins. These coins, special to the event, are then used to buy stuff on the shop, which is temporary, but you should be able to buy everything if you focus on getting these tokens, right? So this is what happens when you have stamina to use, but there is an event ongoing. After you buy all the materials of the event and you don't need anything else because you bought everything and you don't want to get these infinite materials on the meditation space in this case, then you go back and you farm for stuff. What do you farm for? Stamina in the game is used for these three things, and most of the time after you do use stamina for the event, and you're done, now you're only using stamina to farm for materials or money. Now, when you go to enter the show, you will see then at the bottom resources that will eventually unlock. Now you have Numa analysis, the poussière, and the mintage aesthetics, and also you have harvest prime. Now, this is something that eventually you will never do ever again. You will do it initially here and there just to get these dolls so that you can upgrade the wilderness. And there we'll do a separate topic on the wilderness, but this is something that eventually you will never do ever again because now you're capped. Now the two most common ones when it comes to currency are these two, and these basically go together. Keep in mind that you're going to have to farm these occasionally when you need money to level up characters, and that's another topic. The Numa analysis is a special stage to farm materials where you go here and you progress through level 1, from level 1 through level 7. Now, when it comes to Numa analysis, it's very important for you to clear 7 as soon as possible and get into that daily rotation because it gives you 2 free clears per day without consuming stamina. Otherwise, you start consuming stamina and it doesn't become as important anymore because you don't really want to use stamina for this. You can keep doing this every day, and if you don't fail doing it every day, you will have enough of these golden globes here, thoughts in entirety, which are extremely important for the Psychube portion that we'll talk about. So you want to go to 7 as soon as possible and then have it on farm, because when you clear a stage once, it will then save what replay of the clear, and then you can tell them, okay, do it automatically 4 times. You click, or like 2 times. 2 times doesn't consume any stamina. Boom, you click replay and they go and they kill and they give you the thoughts. That's very important for the Psychube. Now, the stamina usually is used for that resource panel, or if you need a specific material, for example, when you go to the bank, when you go to the warehouse, actually. I don't know why bank always feels like should be something where I have the material stored. You see, all of these materials are needed here and there in different quantity from different characters when you try to level them. So all these materials have a special place when they drop. Okay, so the golden beetle drops on 3:15, so third chapter, level 15. This one drops on chapter 5, level 4, and this on chapter 6, level 21. Those are some examples. And this also tells you if you need to play it in hard. So there are always some places where it's more efficient to get them, and you can see a full list on in description. I will link you the websites, all the needed websites, and those materials are needed for leveling up the character, the level, and the resonance, which is another topic. So purple materials, then yellow materials, then books, then orange materials are usually all you need, all that it's needed to level up a character. Then for the resonance, you will need the brief cacophony and the moment of dissonance and the sonorous knell to get to a certain level of resonance. And then you will need these materials, polarization, to level up the Psychube, which is basically the way that we call the weapon of the character. So that said, the stamina is used for these reasons, and the most optimal way to use stamina is to recap the story of the event first, then you do the resource management, or equal importance, the purple materials, and that is it. Because everything else, it's going to be not efficient. So what you do is you find the character that you want to level up, you check which materials do they need, and then you farm for the character, the materials that they need. Oh, they need 6 of that? Okay. If there is a character that you were going to pull in the future, we do what it's called pre-farming. Pre-farming is basically going to be you knowing what materials you are going to need and preparing them before you pull the character. So with the moment the character comes out, you can pull them and immediately get them up to speed and make them become viable immediately, because you already took care of everything that they needed to level up. Now, that said, this is the first topic. When you start the game, you're going to have not many resources. You're going to have, yes, some pulls that are going to help you from the events, clear the story, clear this tutorial, clear the beginner tutorial, which is called the beginning of the tale. Each chapter is going to tell you what to do, and as a reward behind me, you will get free pulls, free characters, free materials, a lot of money, and then it will end up with like 20 pulls, I believe. And then you're going to do the daily. You can give you a lot of materials, and the weekly as well. But beginning of the tale is something that you need to work on, because this is part of the good rewards you can get as a new player. On top of the starting day daily login that is going to give you 13 pulls from in a span of 8 days, a free healer that's called Dike, they're really, really strong, and then you also will get a selector for a Psychube. Now, this is really important because this is going to help you eventually on the short term to get your account up to speed. On the topic of imported materials, before we move on, we should probably touch on which materials are the most needed, the most rare, and usually the most important to get, even when you don't know what to do and you have some free stamina to spare and you would like to get some more stock on some of those annoying materials, okay? So first of all, the first material that you should worry about is the Golden Thought. And the Golden Thought, obviously, as we saw just a little bit ago, comes from Numa Analysis. Do not miss Numa Analysis, because with the Golden Thought you will be able to go to the fragment shop and buy a Psychube. Now, why would you do this? Usually there is a Psychube that is free from the event and usually that Psychube is for the event character that runs alongside the event on the banner, on the gacha banner. However, the previous ones, the previous Psychubes for older characters that you might end up getting eventually are found in the fragment shop, and you will need 210 golden thoughts to buy one, because the first one, it's always discounted of each. So remember to not waste your thoughts on buying anything weird. You can use the silver thoughts to buy a couple of good low-level Psychube, like 5-star Psychube, for example, Yearning Desire. But besides that, you should probably use them to buy materials that can help you level up the Psychube, which are Enlightened 1, 2, Polarization. Those materials that don't use the golden, but they use the silver one, the thought element. When it comes to purple mats then, the most annoying materials that I would say to farm are more or less these. You wanna get the golden beetle, you wanna get the gooseneck, you wanna get the winged key, you want to get a bunch of holy silver, you wanna get the bifurcated skeleton, which I do not have, and it's always required. You also wanna stock up on solidus as much as you can, and usually these materials, when available inside an event, you should try to prioritize obviously the event shop, because that way you're not going to spend stamina trying to farm them. And also solidus is the first blue material, is the only blue material. Then to craft you need 2 materials to craft it. The others it's 1-1. The solidus just likes to use a lot of materials, which is really weird. You can also stock up on post 1.4 material, 1.5 material, which are foxtail, perpetual cog, and cicada wings. Like, these materials are kind of new and they're still used, fairly used and needed. That said, besides that, try always to clean the shop of everything that doesn't consume stamina. Buy everything. You should be able to prioritize these materials first, and if you have the chance to secure some of the more interesting, more important materials, some orange materials that are very expensive to make if you were to craft them. So those are more or less the material that you need. For the yellow ones, you shouldn't worry, because if you farm enough of the purple ones, when you have time, you will be able to craft them in 2 seconds. So don't worry about it too much. You shouldn't farm the yellow material on stages, and just buy the whatever they give you on the shop or the event for free. So those are the materials more or less. The books, you could pre-farm them in general to have like a bunch of them laying around, but you can just keep it until the end when the character comes out and it requires you like 5 books, and you just do it on the fly. It's not something you need to craft. They just drop yellow and they drop purple, whatever the stage. Like 5 and 6 drop yellow, 4 and 3 drop purple, and then they drop the blue one on the first floor. So you don't have to worry about them. Everything else you need to try and get, especially the cacophony, the brief cacophony, and the moment of dissonance. Try to stack on them as much as you can. Buy them every time, and some place where you can buy them are the fragment shop. When you go to the oneric shop, these are oneric fluid that you get from one of the endgame modes of the game, which is going to be artificial somnambulism for you. Once you clear 10 stages of artificial somnambulism, you will unlock the secret one, which is called Limbo. And Limbo has 6 stages, and they give you even more materials. So with these materials, you should be able to buy cacophony and dissonance at a discounted rate until they're sold out, and then you should focus on Crystal Casket. What is the Crystal Casket? I will tell you in just a second when we move on to the character section. Now that we know the materials, what are those materials used for? Leveling up the character. So when we go to our crew and we click crew, we will be presented with our roster of characters. And when you click on a character, you will see their level, what they are, and they will have some weird symbols. Now, let's assume that we want to level up a character. Now, a character, when you get the character, is going to look like this. You're going to have the character, and this is the panel. This is what they do. The cards that they have, this is the ultimate, skill 1, skill 2. Then we have insight 1 to 3, which are their passive. And you're going to have this passive be stronger and stronger when you ascend them to the next tier. First tier is insight 1, which they come with. And then the second one is going to give you a little bit of things. And then the final ascension is going to be insight 3, which is usually a continuation or an empowerment of the first insight that gives you even more things. Now, in this case, you will start at insight 0. You need to get at least to insight 1 to start using these passives. So the levels are 30 for the first character, and then you level up using these two materials that we saw before, dust and sharpodonty. Now these are going to be needed, but it's not that much required when you are low level, because you won't have these resources to get to higher insight. So this is where everything is. So there's level, insight, and this is the Psychube preference, which is if you click, you will see the Psychube in the game, and you will select, okay, which one do you want to give her? And this Psychube, like we said before, it's a weapon of the character, for the character, that does something, gives them some basic stats, and then it gives something called amplification above me. So the amplification is a buff that is going to give the Psychube is going to give to the character, which could be really good or not, depending on which Psychube are you getting. So some Psychube are not obviously compatible with every character. There's going to be some normal ones, some more global ones, and some like specific ones. So that's the Psychube. It's going to be a section on its own. Now, when it comes to portraits are basically copies of the characters that you get. Now, these portraits are not really something you need to worry about, especially if you're free to play. Eventually, you will accidentally get some copies of some characters. If you are lucky, you will get a copy of a good character. Otherwise, it's going to be a copy of whoever. It could be a character that you don't like or that it's not good. So we don't really worry about portrait. Now, on resonance, this is really important. For the resonance level, increases the stats of the character by a lot, and also gives you access to a panel where you can adjust pieces to give them a specific focus when it comes to which stats are they getting. So if we have a I1 character, we'll be able to start accessing the system. And as you can see, I have some pieces that I can change. I can put this character, put this piece here, and this piece gives me critical damage. This one gives me HP. This one gives me HP, attack, reality, defense. This one HP and damage bonus. While you level this up by using some materials, in this case, moment of dissonance and cacophony, on top of other materials at the higher resonance, you will level up and you will unlock new pieces. The area is going to be expanding, and you will end up with something looking like this when you reach the max of. So resonance 10 is the resonance where everybody should slowly get, and you have a proper functional build with the items. You can copy a resonance build combo from the internet. I have in all of my guides, I also included the resonance, so you can check that on whatever character video you want to go. And here, this is usually where you stop, unless you want to make use of some new powers or you want to go even further beyond. But as a free-to-play player, you shouldn't do this too often because it consumes a lot of caskets. Now, what the hell is a casket? A casket is something that you need to level up from 9 to 10. Now, you would say, why would I care about from 9 to 10? Because when you switch from 9 to 10, you will get the final expansion of the area, and you will get the unlocking of the second mechanic for the resonance, which is the frequency. Now, when I'm trying to find a character that it's R9 R10. Oh my god. Melania R10. Good Fairy is R9. There you go. So when you have a resonance 9 character and you go and try to level it up, it's going to ask you for some materials. Now, this is something that it's important, but you will have enough of Sonorous Knell, because they always give you like 5 or 10 here and there during a patch. And if you're not doing too many, R10s per patch, you don't have to worry about this too much. But This is the important part. The echo, the whatever crystal that you need, is going to change depending on the character, and it comes from an item called crystal casket. If you go and click, you will see that it looks like the thing that you can buy from the Onetic shop, and also other places in the patch, in the game, like events and raids and special shops, always for free. Now, the crystal casket, when you use it, it will tell you which crystal do you want, and you will match it with the ones that they're asking you. The one that looks like this, it will be highlighted so it's impossible to fail. That's what you use to increase from 9 to 10. So until 9 it doesn't ask you, and then 10 it starts asking you that. After 10, every level is going to ask you one of those crystals. So it's extremely expensive and very discouraged usually, unless you want to go all out on your main DPS and max it out. Usually everybody stops at 10 for every character, unless special reasons, because that's when you usually stop, because it becomes very expensive and it's not even worth anymore. It's only worth if you are not free to play, or if you want to do specifically only one character and you will never do it again. You stay for a little bit and then you do go all out, R15, maxed out, completely maxed, you get the final resonance pattern, and you will be strong. Now, after you unlock level 10, you will also be able to access the resonance. Now, the frequency. Now, the resonance pattern here is an enhancement of your first big geometric piece. There is one piece every time that gives you on its own. It's a core piece, and it gives you the majority of the stats. It gives you a lot of stats. The other materials give you a little bit of this, a little bit of that. This one is the big chunk boy. Now, the big chunk boy, it gets enhanced further after you get to 10. Now, once you get to 10, you can specialize this piece to do something else rather than give you the same default stats. So if you go here, you will be able to select a specialization for that specific item. It's going to give you different stats depending on how you want to build your character. So depending on the character, there's going to be a different recommended resonance pattern. If you want to know which resonance is needed for which character, I made a video about it called Every Character's Resonance, so you can go check that one. It's pretty recent, so just scroll a little bit and you will find it. So we're not gonna focus too much, but that's needed, and that unlocks for after you are 10. So if you don't are 10, you will not get this. Now, that said, this is something that you don't really care about when you start the game. When you start the game, you will have low-level characters. They're going to be level, not even level 1. You're gonna have a level 1 character. Okay, let's say, oh, I got Lorelei. Let's get Lorelei to level 30. This is already going to be a lot for you. Maybe you don't even want to be level 30 with a support. You're going to be like, okay, maybe level 20. And then you have your roster of characters, especially the starting characters are going to be refunded to you after a certain point of leveling up, thanks to the beginner tutorial missions. So that's going to be very free for you, but the other characters that are not included, that you randomly got from gacha, you will be able to get them to a certain level. Eventually, you will level up. You'll be like, okay, now they're level 30. I can now increase them to I1. Oh, I need this item. Okay, and then you click on the item that you need, and it will tell you, it's here. It's here. Okay, let's go inside Starfall Locale 1 and 2. Click. And it's going to bring you to that stage. Now, these stages, the way these stages work is that they start at level 1 and they end up at level 6. The higher you go, the harder it's going to be, and the harder it is for you to clear them, obviously. So eventually you will be able to do it, don't worry. But you're going to need some roster power or some roster global level to be a little bit higher. You're going to have to level them to I1, maybe I2. So initially, you don't really want to waste your resonances and your materials. You don't want to waste much. So where should you stop? What is a good checkpoint for the characters when you're a new player? The way we did during day 1 and during the release portion, where we were all poor, all broke materials-wise, we did it like this. The DPS had the priority. So it was the one that would approach the next Ascension, let's say they would evolve to I1, the others would stay back a little bit, and the Resonance would stay back as well. It would not be touched until I2. I2 is when you ascend them 2 times. Now, when you get all your characters through I2, it's a good point to stop at I2 level 50, which is right before I3, because you don't really have the materials needed to level everybody up to I3. I3 requires you quite a lot of material. Let's see if I can show you. I can actually. So if I want to get a new Babel to I3, I click this. Look how many materials it needs. A lot of yellows and 3 oranges. And to do 3 oranges, it needs all of these materials to make it. So you don't want to do that, right, for every character, and you can't even if you wanted to. So a good stopping point for a character that is not a DPS, so a support, a shielder, a buffer, a debuffer, a healer, those characters, they should stay behind and be not I3, because they can still pull their weight, buff, debuff, heal without dying. But also with not being I3, they're going to save you a lot of materials. So as you can see, these are characters that I haven't improved since day 1 because I didn't really need to. And I still use Medicine Pocket sometimes to this day because they're still pretty good. They don't die immediately unless you're doing some very, very hard content, but it's very occasional. Now, so this is where you should stop for characters that are not DPSs. For your main DPS, you should try to get to I3. Now, after you get to I3, you shouldn't go too further to I3 because it costs very high amount of resources. For example, 1 level from 50 to 51 is going to cost 10k Sharpodonty and 21k Dust. If I wanted to max it out, it would cost me 114 and 237,000. So you don't want to do that. You wouldn't be able to do that. Or you will deplete your bank and for no reason, because the stat increase from like level 10, I3 level 10 to I3 level 50, it's not that big. So it's not a big deal. Now, but you should unlock the I3 because, like I said before, they are going to get their maximum upgraded passives. You're going to have the full kit evolved now. You have access to everything that they are supposed to do. Now all you need to do, give them a Psychube, which usually have their own face on it. You stop them at R10 if you can, otherwise R9 is fine for now as a new player. So the DPS, you should find 2 DPSs because you're going to need 2 teams for Limbo. So the first goal for you is going to be Limbo, and you're going to need 2 DPSs. So 2 DPSs, but you're gonna need 6 characters. So you shouldn't over level and level here and there and here and there and this and this and this and this like randomly without thinking about it too much, because it's important for you to save mats. You don't have too many mats, so you should aim for 6 to 8 characters leveled to at least like I2 level 50, and the Resonance should be stopping at R6, R7 for the non-DPSs, and maybe R8, R9 for the DPS. You don't even have to R10. And the Insight should be I3 if you can on the DPS, or otherwise you don't do that and you keep them everybody I2 level 50, and maybe I2 level 40, I2 level 35 for the non-DPSs. You should be able to pull it off. Now, after you have your team, now you are ready to go to the endgame, or at least tackle the endgame. The first thing that you need to do is go to the Artificial Somnambulism and clear the 10 stages. Once you clear the 10 stages of increasing difficulty, you will unlock this. Limbo X, Limbo Stage 1. You click it, and now you have 6 secret stages that get increasingly hard, and they're going to need 2 teams, because the first stage you're going to have to do 2 fights per stage. The first fight is going to lock whoever you used, and the second team is going to be the remaining character, because the first team got locked. You can't use the first team on the second one. So what you need to do eventually, you're going to have to try and collect characters that are able to be strong against the element that the enemy is. So if the enemy, you click here and the enemy is going to be like, okay, it's going to show you, you are going to fight, you can see it here, you're going to fight plant. Now, if you don't know, you can refer to this. The natural afflatus and the primal afflatus. Now, this is part of the combat section. The afflatuses are going to be like this. So plant is strong against star, star is strong against mineral, mineral is strong against beast, beast is strong against plant. When they are strong against, means they deal 30 more damage. If you are not strong against, you're dealing no extra damage. You're dealing your damage, that's it. It's also going to be shown as a different color when you are in combat. So if you are attacking someone and they're weak to you, the damage is going to be red. Otherwise, it's going to be white. Now, for the primal afflatus, they are countering each other, but they're not going to have a weakness to anybody else besides their counterpart of the primal. So spirit, it's weak to intelligence, and with intelligence, it's weak and strong against spirit. So they're going to take each other out, but if you fight with a primal afflatus against the normal ones, they are not going to get you to give you an enhanced damage. And you're not going to be weak to them, but you're not going to be strong to them either. Now, you technically then should make a team with time, a team that counters every normal afflatus. So you should make a beast team, a plant team, a star team, a mineral team. As team, at least get DPS, right? The DPS that can counter them is going to help a lot. If you fight plant with beast, you're going to deal way more damage. It's going to be way easier to clear, and you're not going to have that many problems when they attack you back, because plant it's weak against star. So if you're attacking them with beast and they attack you back, beast is not going to take 30% more damage. It's going to take normal damage, which is easier for you also for survivability. Now, it's going to be really hard for you to do this when you start the game, but this is a goal to have for your roster. Eventually, the roster is going to be varied, and you're going to have a lot of afflatuses, and you don't have to worry anymore because you're going to have a team for every type of element. You have someone that goes crazy. So you have plant, a star, a beast, or maybe you have Lucy, which is intelligence. So those are going to get the job done. Now, this was the character portion. Let's now move on to the next. I just talked about the roster. Now, what does that mean? What is the roster? The roster is all your character that you have. What do you have on your account? How many characters do you have? How future-proof is? How bullet-proof is? How combat-proof is? How endgame-proof your account is? Can you withstand everything that the game throws at you? Can you clear every content at maximum rewards? That is going to be your roster. The roster is, in my opinion, the most important things that you should worry about when you start a gacha, but specifically also in Reverse 1999, it's very important to build a strong roster first, and then try to pull up characters that you really like, that might be subpar or non-meta, Now, somebody would say, I know that somebody would say, oh, look, but I don't like this character because it's because I don't like them, but they're meta. So are you a meta slave? Yes, you need to be a meta slave for a little bit of time until you are able to clear everything, and then after you clear everything, you stop being the meta slave and you pull for whoever you like. Now, obviously, a new character that comes out that is really strong, coincidentally, it's going to have people that are going to say like, oh, I don't know, I didn't know they were strong. I just like them. I just like them. That's cool. I'll go lucky, I guess. So at the end of the day, most of the people do care about how powerful a character is. Why that is? Because that gives you variety. The reason why I feel like you should be a little bit of a meta slave, especially when you are new, and if you whether you like it or not, everyone is going to care, especially when you start as a new player. The first thing that people do at Google tier list or ask around, oh, is this character good? Is this character good? They don't say, do you like this character? Do you like my new waifu? Do you like my new husbando? So the roster is very important. And the roster is the first thing that you should worry about when you are pulling character, and your pull priority should change depending on the needs that you have on your account. Oh, you don't have a beast character? Maybe we shouldn't pull another star. Maybe we should pull this beast character, even though you don't like them too much, but it's very, very strong. So pull this character. So next time you do Limbo, you're not gonna miss 3 pulls because you didn't pull the character, right? So you could make the argument, yeah, but I'm not missing that much, so I don't care. That is fair. However, if you pull the character and this character is very strong and very future-proof, you will use this character to now fully clear everything for a very long time, which in turn makes it so you are generating back the pulls that you needed for the character, because you are now clearing from now on. Now, if you pull a character that is not meta, it might be pretty all you want, but it might fall off really soon and you're going to have to replace them because you can't clear with them anymore. Now, in this game, obviously, it's not that hard. You can clear with pretty much every character, okay? But we are not talking about whether or not we will be able to eventually clear everything, because that's unavoidable. You will be able. We are talking about whether or not we should suffer through it. Do you want to suffer? Do you want to sweat every time you're trying to do Limbo? You don't. You want to quickly do Limbo, clear it, and move on with your life, because it's the bi-weekly refresh. Okay, let me quickly go Limbo. Let me get my pulls for gacha. Boom, 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 boom. Destroyed. Okay, I'm good. You need to reach this. If you don't reach this, unless you like the suffering, you will be having a hard time every time, and in my opinion, it will eventually deter you from continuing. It's gonna burn you out. It's gonna bother you. It's gonna bore you. You're gonna be like, oh shit, I don't want to do Limbo again. Oh my god, last time it took me like an hour to clear one stage. No, I'm not gonna do Limbo. And you're not doing Limbo. You're not doing the other thing. Oh, the raids, I can't even do the raids, man. My account is just so bad because I got unlucky. I didn't get this character. So it's been 3 months. I haven't been able to clear any raid. I can get maximum A. I'm not gonna do them again. I don't care. It's gonna, what is the A gonna give me? Like a couple of materials? Who cares? But all of these negative things are gonna be the foundation. You're gonna build on top of it and eventually burn you out and you're gonna quit. So the approach of the account should be to make a good account, and once you have the good account, then you can be silly and quirky and pull all the cool waifus or the weird and wacky characters that come in that are not like super important, but you like them a lot. That comes after. So the roster is really important, and I wanted to make a section about it because it's a crucial thing that is going to make or break, unironically, your experience of the game. Are you going to enjoy the game when you have to suffer through everything? Maybe some of you do, but a lot of people, I bet they don't. So whenever you get unlucky in the gacha, you can't spend money, and then you can't clear this, you can't clear that, you Alt F4 and you uninstall and never play again. So why don't we make a good account first, and then we clear everything? This now feels fun. Now you feel accomplished, now you get rewarded, now you can get your pulls. Now maybe this time you will be able to get to PT with those 10 extra pulls that you got during the patch, right? So all of this is really important. So I wanted to, give you a little bit of a heads up when it comes to the roster. The roster is very important, and roster and account variety is crucial for you to enjoy the game and be successful in the PvE content that the game has to offer. Now let's move to the next topic. We saw before that eventually you will unlock something called Wilderness, which is very, very important to do a couple of things, but the crucial one I would say that is the crafting. Now, when you go to the Wilderness, what is this? You're going to be teleported into a special zone where you have a little world, a little globe, and this globe is going to look like this. Basically, it's going to be like completely empty. You're going to have like maybe 1 or 2 tiles, 3 tiles. It's going to include the Paleo Hall, the Bell Tower, the Sharpodonti Market, and that is it. Now, clicking the Paleo Hall will tell you, okay, you can level this up. Should you level this up? Okay, I'm going to level it up. once you level it up, you will also be able to access new things at certain levels and improve the power of the two, Dust Belt Tower and the Sharpodonti Market. By improving the Paleo Hall, you will also be able to up the cap on these two towers, and these automatically generate some money. For example, I'm gonna get 23k here and 10k Sharpodonti with a vigor bonus. Now, tell you what it is in just a second. Now, the Paleo Hall eventually will unlock the Wishing Spring, and the Wishing Spring is it's a very, very important feature of the game that you should rush and try to get as soon as possible, because this is going to help you craft some materials that you wouldn't be able to make. For example, you do not drop the orange materials, you only make them. And how do you make them? By using purple mats. Those you can farm, but you can also make them. So if you not getting the bifurcated skeleton, if you have enough of the materials, you can just make it, right? Okay, I want to make 2, craft 1. Yes, done. Now you don't have to do 4 stages with a 30% chance of dropping, hoping that your 100 stamina will net you at least 1 skeleton. No, you just made 1. So this is something you will unlock progressively. You're going to have access to some materials first, and then by progressing and upgrading the level of the Wishing Spring, which in turn is able to be upgraded thanks to the Paleo Hall, you will unlock more and more and more options. You will unlock the Insight materials, you will unlock the Wilderness materials, you will unlock the Resonance materials. This is very, very important because it lets you change the moment of dissonance, which you always get a lot of, but you don't need too many, into Cacophony, which is very needed. You need, for example, as tip, you need 30 every time you want to R10 a character. You need 30 Cacophony per character that you want to R10, Resonance 10, okay? So remember how many you have, and if you need more, okay, you need 4 more, okay, farm it, do it, boom. You wouldn't be able to do this otherwise, and the other way, if you don't have access to this, the other way to get Cacophony is from the shop, from the Limbo. So you can only buy an X amount of Cacophony from Limbo. After that, the only way for you to get more outside of the events is from this. So you need to focus this one and unlock everything as soon as possible, because this is going to help you tremendously building your characters and building everything that you need to finish your character leveling and building. Now, the towers are going to generate some currency, and this currency is higher compared to your vigor. What is the vigor? The vigor is given by the tiles that you are using. So when you do edit wilderness, you're going to be able to swap out some items, as you can see here. You're gonna have access to some themes. Now, my wilderness is satanic, is diabolical, is cursed, because I don't care about how the wilderness works, but you can make a cool thing. It's a little bit of a mini game. I have the Riverman here. So if you see this, it's over for you. You will have a Riverman spawn in your wilderness as well, and it's permanent. You can do anything about it. Now, it's not going to do anything though. Just it's going to stay there and stare at you. Now, when you go and click, let's say here, you will be having access to some tiles that you might have picked up for free from the events shop. Now, from the event shop, you will have some materials, right? When you click them, some of them are going to have different rarity. So if we go and check, let's say, Street of Pay, right? Street of Pay, this material, we put it here. Boom. As you can see, I am gaining a little bit of vigor. Okay, put it there. And then we get a new one. Oh, boom, put it there. Now, it looks insane because I am insane. Otherwise, the island capacity is full. So, boom, put that. We can't. To increase it, we need to level up the Paleo Hall, right? So, that's why you want to increase the Paleo Hall, because increasing the Paleo Hall is going to give you more space to then have more vigor. And when you click on vigor, this is what it does. It gives you a lot of resource output percentage, and it gives you a lot of character capacity. What a character capacity does is gives you the ability to put a character, and they're going to stay like in this place, right? In the wilderness. They're going to walk around and chill. When they're here, they're going to automatically build friendship with you. Eventually, every day you come in and you click the people here, 12 in my case, you redeem all of the accumulated friendship from the characters. Sometimes they're going to give you a special quest. You're going to have some wilderness and max out their bond, progress their bond. Why is this important? It's not super important, but it's something that in background is going to help you, because when you go to crew and you see someone that it's lit, you see here, there's a little square. The little square is going to be either here or actually it's always going to be there, I believe. So you click this one and it's okay, you have a new story. Why do I have a new story? Because the bond is now higher. Now the bond at certain threshold, I believe the last one is 80%. I think this one is like 40%, and the first one it's automatically or unlocked, or maybe very early. You click the unlockable, you know more about the characters, and you get clear drops. You can get a lot of clear drops per character once they're maxed. At 60% bond and 100, I will get more items and more clear drops. So each character has their own progression, and by placing them in the wilderness as many as you can, and they scale with vigor. The more vigor you have, the more top capacity of characters you have. I don't know if it can go higher than 12, but it doesn't really matter. You put them here and they will farm. Eventually, you will get them to 100%. Look how many characters I got to 100% obviously from day one, but this means that all of these characters gave me 200-ish clear drops. Look, I already got like almost 4,000, 3,000 minimum of just from doing the character, like making them here, keeping them here and make them farm the bond. So this is something like marginal that can help you. Now, you could also go and buy some new tiles that are really, really good, and you can check their stats. Like if it's orange, you should think about it like the rarity of everything else in the game. Orange is the highest one, so orange is going to give you way more from that tile, from that pack. Is going to give you way more vigor than the shittier one. So you don't really want to get the yellow one. You want to get the orange. So technically, if you buy everything that it's orange and you place it there, you're going to have a lot of vigor, and with a lot of vigor also come a lot of resources and space for the characters, and maybe more characters they can put there. So the wilderness is really important, and you should do it as soon as possible. Rush the craft, increase the paleo haul, increase the quality, the rarity of the tiles, and how many you have, and then you should be good. Every day you come here, and daily you will be collecting everything. Collect the materials, collect the bond farm, and then you're done until the next day. Now, that is it. Let's move on to the next topic. I already told you about the events, but let's go ahead and check the event panel. That will always be there when you start the game. When you are a new player, you will also be presented with whatever event is coming whenever you come into the game, right? In this case, in 2.0, we have Floor It to the Golden City. Now, this is an event from 2.0, and it contains a specific story for the event, and it's going to have to the side, you can see here, a lot of different activities, and some of them are locked because they're part of phase 1 and phase 2. Phase 1 means the first half of the patch is going to have a specific character, in this case Mercury, which is this girl, and on the second phase we're going to have the second character. Mercury is going to go away in the gacha banner, and she's going to give place to Joe here, this guy over here. So on phase 1 you have a certain amount of events that you can do, and then they're going to stay. But on phase 2, also all the events are going to be active. So everything is going to be active at the same time. After phase 2 begins, you will be having access to everything, including Utu, which is the Midnight Mayhem, and the San Francisco Kids, which is a special story for this character Joe. Same with Mercury, with 1000 Nights. You do their quest, and they will also always give you a lot of materials and clear drops, which are the gems of the game. Anecdote is a special place where you can go and play a specific old character story that we didn't have before. You play it, and they give you some materials to farm, but after you do the story, consuming 100 stamina is going to give you some access to this thing that you can then put characters in and farm. After you do that, you will reach a certain amount of coins, and it will automatically redeem materials they don't give you gems, but they give you materials, and some of them are really nice. So if you have time to do this, you should do it, but it's not essential. So if you forget about it, don't worry. Now, this is the anecdote. The main bulletin is the raid. The raids are very powerful, very hard for a new player. So I don't know if you will be able to do anything here, but technically the way it works is that you're going to fight this mega monster here. You're going to do more damage. They're invincible. They have infinite HP. But every time you make them die once, let's say, every time you deplete a bar, or maybe when you do damage, you will get a bunch of points. Depending on the certain threshold of points, you will reach a grade. In my case, I have SSS. SSS is the max amount of score that you can get to get a maximum amount of materials. Now, as you can see here, if you get 25 points, 25k points, you will get 50 tickets, which is the currency for the specific shop for the raid. The more you have a higher score, the more materials it's going to give you, the more tickets it's going to give you. So if you get S, which is 450,000 points, it's going to net you an S. If you get to 650, it's going to give you a double S. If you get to 850, it's going to give you a triple S. That is the max. And doing triple S is going to give you 300 of those notes. Also, cumulative damage, which should be possible for everybody, just do it multiple times. You can one-shot this if you can do a triple S, because it's the same amount of points. But if you are doing like 400k, you just have to do it 3 times, you can max it out. This is always going to be possible for you to get. You just need to fight it a lot of times, more times if you are struggling, but you will have a little bit of materials. Now, with these tokens, you go to behind me, there is a button called Main Trust, you click it, and you will be having access to this shop. Now, in this shop, there are obviously materials that you should prioritize. For example, the casket, like we saw before, HF polarization, which is very rare, and you need it to level up the Psychube, which is the weapon again of the characters. Those are really rare because they're super scarce. They're super scarce, so whenever you see the polarization, they look like a light bulb, buy them all the time and you won't regret it, trust me. Now, besides that, the materials that are more impactful are the gluttony. The gluttony is a special material that you can use to amplify the Psychube. So let's think about a copy of a Psychube that doesn't need to have a copy to improve. So you are using a jolly, a special resin, a special thing called gluttony, which is a material that you can use instead of the copy of a Psychube. And the good part about gluttony is that it works for everything. So you don't have to necessarily get the copy of that Psychube to get them to the maximum power. Now, whether or not whether or not you should level up, amplify a Psychube or not, that's another topic, and now whether or not you should do that, it's probably another topic that I won't cover on this, because it's going to be a very long time. It's going to be very nuanced. So gluttony is something that improves the Psychube, and it's now whether or not you should do it, you should use it. It depends on the Psychube. This is another topic for another video. Now, gluttony though, it's used for doing that, and it's important because when you get a new Psychube, you won't have copies of it available in the shop, because they will appear in the shop way later. When you buy a Psychube from the event for the character that you pulled for on the banner of the new patch, you're not going to have copies of the same one. So you're going to have to resort to gluttony if you want to quickly upgrade it. So keep that in mind. That's why gluttony is so important and so useful, because you can use it instead of their copy, because sometimes you can't buy the copy. There's only one of that Psychube. So after buying the gluttony, you should go back and refer to the other section of the video when I told you which materials are annoying. You should try to farm so you don't have to worry about them. And some of them are here as well, like the bifurcated skeleton, the HF polarization, moment of dissonance, cacophony. You can see them now. It's elitist. Yeah, those materials are annoying. You should try to get them. Also, the cog and the cicada wings are also annoying. So eventually, it's gonna be three 3 bosses, 3 raids, you clear them and you do your score and you're gonna have coins to buy everything. Not everything, but most of the important materials, you will be able to get them. You will have some leftovers, but that's how it is. Now, this is the shop and how it works. Usually, obviously, the shop is going to give you from the story coins for the event, and the coins from the event are going to be used on their own shop. And on their own shop, always you should prioritize the purple ones, the purple materials, but specifically the orange materials, which is the Unilog, which is a one pool for gacha, and then the casket, the gluttony, the specific patch specific character specific new edition Psychube, which doesn't have copies, and that's why you use gluttony. So you get those out, you buy those, and then you go back and buy the less important materials, but that are still pretty good. So the cacophony, the polarization, dissonance, even this finger here, that's pretty good, the Sukuna finger. Cicada wings also good. Also the money, this is going to help you a lot when you're a new player. It's going to have a lot of money from the event. So try to maybe rush this actually before some of these materials. You don't really need the Serpent Scepter. If you're not pulling the character, right, you maybe might not need the gluttony straight away. So first, you do the sharp odonti or maybe the dust so you can get your team to higher levels. Now you can clear better, clear faster, maybe clear like a new mode, a new difficulty. Now you get more coins, right? So keep an eye on that. That could be a good strategy to do. So that was everything about the event. Usually they're structured the same way every time. So don't worry about it too much. This is how it works. If you have obviously any question, feel free to comment and maybe tag the timing when I said that, because I don't remember what it is, right? So that was the event. And let's now move on to the next topic. Now let's talk about something important that we haven't shown yet, which is the combat. Now I will show you a fight in Limbo to tell you and to teach you how it works, how the character behave, what's happening, what is the tuning, what everything is, so you will be having a good understanding of what's happening. First of all, even before we start the fight, it will be important for you to check this panel out. After checking the Afflatus advantage and disadvantages and checking the what is happening in the stage, because every stage is going to have their own room-wide buffs or debuffs or mechanics that they want you to do. After checking the enemy and checking, oh, we are fighting these characters. Okay, on phase 1, or the first fight with the first team, remember you need 2 teams, they do these things. What do they do? Oh, when the caster dies, Moxie +1, okay. And then this thing, oh, after casting a rank 2 or 3 incantation, gain Moxie, okay, that's good, okay. So usually Limbo is going to be themed around some characters, and it's going to be good for a certain type of characters. Now, this is not going to be something that you will be able to use or to your advantage early on, because you won't have the characters that do what they tell you they do. So you won't really get much from these bonuses, but always check what the monsters do, what the stage do, especially if you're new, because this is going to make or break your success. You either get destroyed or you win. Sometimes you should check what they do, because they have some weird mechanics and you maybe accidentally buff them. They make, like, let's say they don't want you to attack the left guy, and you attacking the left guy accidentally. Okay, now the guy's buffed, but you didn't know, and you die because of it. So it's important. Second, then you can check the second team. It's going to have most of the time the same stage, a buff, but they're going to have different monsters that they do different things. So check what they do is very important, especially if you're a new player. This is the stage when you select your team. You have different presets, and also you have the first melody. First melody is the MC of the series called Vertin. It's basically the commander. And it's going to be, okay, you go fight. I will help you with my tuning. Now, with the tuning, it's called first melody. We also have other tunings that you can get. I have a third one. You can get a third one from the tutorial. I didn't get it because I don't think it's good and I will never use it. But if you like it, you should do the tutorial, and you can see it. It's really easy to see from the beginner rewards. It will tell you to do it, so you clear the tutorial and you get it. But this one you also can get Unfinished Tune and First Melody. These two are really good. This one is really good, especially for characters that want to have copies of their cards generated. Well, this one is going to help the cards. We'll see once we press play. Now, this is all you need to worry about in this panel. When clicking on this, it will bring you to the roster, and now you can check, okay, which character do I want to bring? Okay, recommended plant, maybe I should use plant, okay? Maybe I can use this character that is plant, this support that is plant, and this healer that is plant. Maybe also we bring this buffer that is plant, right? So it's important for you to match whatever they're asking you. Why do they recommend plant? Because again, with the Afflatus advantage, you are going to fight star characters, so you want to, if you can, bring the strong Afflatus that it's good against them. At the very least, do not bring mineral against star, because if you are already handicapped by just being a new player and being underleveled, you really don't want to also be taking 30% more damage from the enemy. You really don't. So at least do not bring mineral. Now, if you have plant, good. If you don't, it's fine. You will still win if you play correctly. Now, when we press start, actually, let's make another team, because that's going to basically obliterate everything. At the moment I click, I can even show you. So the concept is going to be like this. Okay, I need plant. Oh, I need plant. Okay, so I need a DPS plant. Oh, I have it. Okay, then I need someone that can help me. Okay, let's say Anali. Okay, I have Anali. Good. And then we do Cacania. Okay, no, you don't have to bring every plant. As long as you have the main DPS that is dealing the most amount of damage being plant, now you are good, okay? So all you have to worry about is bringing in the DPS that you need, and then you bring the characters that can help your main DPS that you might not know, obviously. There are multiple resources on the internet, multiple tier lists that are going to give you an understanding on what's up with the teams, which teams are most important. So it's going to be a little harder for you to make a team, but you could get a team really easily by just understanding the concept behind what the characters do, the kit that they have. Now, the Mercuria Psychube level 1, I need to level it up. Now, when you have the team, let's say, okay, now I have my team. Let's start. We start the team and we are presented with this. Let me remove the autoplay. Now, at first, you won't be able to bring 4 characters, and you will only be able to bring 3, and 1 character is waiting there with their mascot version, ready to come in if somebody dies. This is the stage of the combat. You're going to have a mix of the cards that your character are using, right? So you're going to have 2-2-2 most of the time. You could re-roll to have different card pop up, but it's a little try hard. You could do it if you feel like you go unlucky with the RNG cards. It's a little RNG, the cards you're gonna get, especially after turn 1. This is behind me. You're gonna have this thing, and by using it, and you will be getting buffs. So the bottom one, this one costs 25 power, mana, whatever you want to call it. It's going to refresh your hand and give you more cards, different cards. So maybe let's say, oh, I need a healing card and I didn't get it, bad RNG. You use 25 stamina to reset everything. Or if you have a card but you would like to get it to make it stronger, now you click 40 and it will generate a special card that can merge with the card that you want to upgrade, and it will become a level 2. Now, you see the cards in the game have 3 stages of power. You have 1 stage, level 1, as you can see there. You see the little orange star? Star 1 is going to give you some statistics. Now, if you have stat 2, star 2, it's the second power. And then there is a third power, which is a little harder to achieve. It's a 3-star incantation. The cards are called incantations. Even the attack, the buff, the debuff, they're all called incantations. So, and 3-star incantation is going to deal more damage and sometimes have extra mechanics. So obviously you should be trying to do that, but most of the time you will be casting 1 and 2 unless you have specific teams that can increase their cards, like the one that I'm using right now. So What we want to do is select the characters that we want to attack and select the card that we want to do. And now we have here 3 slots. It's going to be 4 when we have 4 characters, because every character brings in 1 action point. Whenever we'll be able to later on in Limbo fight with 14 members, you will have 4 cards. You will have a little more variety of options. Now for now, all we need to do is either debuff the enemy or buff everybody and then attack. And this is what we're going to do. The order is very important because this is that determines who goes first. So you don't want to do the damage first and then buff and debuff. You want to first debuff the enemy, then buff yourself, and then do the damage, because now you can reap all the things that you set up. So a little bit of a setup, it's obviously important. Now, we can just move on, keep going. Okay, so that guy died. There's more enemies coming. Now, on top of that, you can see here, if this one says 1, it means that there are other enemies coming, but this is not something you have to worry about too much. This is basically it. You keep going, and when you cast the cards, you're going to get a single dot here of yellow. This dot here is called Moxie. The Moxie is a system that once you have 5, you will get access to your ultimate. So when you click the character, it's going to tell you, okay, these are the 2 cards that she has, and then this thing is the ultimate. Now the ultimate always does something good. It deals a lot of damage, buffs the allies, super buffs, shields, like everything. Giga heals, stance switches, domain expansion. There's a lot of things tied behind the ultimates, depending on the characters. So to get to it and to generate the card that is the ultimate card, you need to get them to 5 Moxie. So if I want to do that, I want to do something like this. Every card is going to give me 1 Moxie, right? Boom. And it's going to tell you, see that it's pulsating. If you do this, if you cast and you commit and you want to do this one, you will gain 1 Moxie. If I do 2 cards, oh, now you will get 2 Moxies. Something that you can also do is merge cards together. So if I can't do it now, it's insane. If I were to merge cards together, let's see if we can do it if I reset. Okay, so I can merge these 2 cards together by dragging them one next to each other. Boom, they max out, it becomes level 2. You burn 1 AP, but the character has gained 2 Moxie. So this is a very fast way for getting Moxie. Either merge cards, or you can sacrifice 1 AP or more to move the card around, but even just moving the card is going to give you 1 Moxie. So you could technically speed run the Moxies by just sacrificing AP to just cast 1 single card, just because you want the ultimate. So let's say I want 6, which is this guy, to be closer to his ultimate, right? I have 2 of his cards. I could just cast the 2 cards, or that's 2 Moxie, right? But what if I want more Moxie? In that case, I want to move the cards around for no reason, consume 1 AP, and now I will have 3 Moxie gain. Now from 2, I now gained 3 because I moved as well. So this is important to keep in mind when you want to rush a specific ultimate. Sometimes the characters are going to ask you, please, my kit allows me to go berserk, to go giga crazy if you rush my ultimate. For example, characters like Lucy. So you want to rush the ultimate, and if you want to do that, the first thing that you can do for free is to just move the cards around. If they can merge, they will merge. If they cannot merge, then they will still give you destroy 1 AP and give the ultimate. Now, if you don't have to do that because you have the cards needed, then it's always better to do more damage, obviously, rather than messing around with the cards. But keep in mind that there is a strat when you start, especially when you start. If you really want to get a character up to speed, it's like, okay, I want the ult next turn. I really want to do that. Okay, now you have the ult. See that we now have 2 ultimates. We have the Mercury ultimate and we have the Marcus ultimate. We're gonna do the Marcus ultimate, and then we're gonna do something else for fun. There you go. Now we're gonna do the ultimate, that does something, in this case does damage, and then we win the fight. This is more or less what is happening with the combat. Now, if we are of the flattest advantage, you're going to deal 30% more damage, and it's going to be visible in combat, because when you attack them, you'll see that you deal red damage. Now, if there is a little puff, a little cloud puff going on, it means that you did a critical. If you did a critical damage, or if you crit, you will do more damage, and there will be a visual indication of a little puff close to the numbers. So there are some indicators for you to tell what's happening, but besides that, that is pretty much it. The complexity of the combat comes in the mechanics that you're going to face. So Limbo is going to eventually become really easy, and the hard part is going to mainly be the raids, because the monsters have infinite HP. They don't die. You try to not die because they get stronger and stronger the more you deplete their infinite HP. And they're going to have special mechanics. It's going to have certain like immunities. You cannot stun them. You cannot do something. You can like interrupt them. So it's going to be way more complicated, because you want to go to higher points, and you're going to need to bring some fine-tuned teams to ensure that you can get to those levels. Otherwise, you won't be able to get them. You're just gonna die, and it's going to feel like you didn't do anything different, but you died. But in reality, you go check and you have like low resonance, a low level. So when it comes to raids, and maybe at the end of Limbo, maybe the last stage of Limbo, you're going to need a little more min-maxing, a lot of more thoughts into your roster. Have everything leveled up, the Psychube leveled up, the character leveled up, the resonance leveled up. Do you want to use some frequency? Are you R10 with the DPS? Are you R8, R9, R10 with the other characters? Because the concept of having lower characters, lower supports and healers only holds up until a certain point, and then you have to level them up as well. So at the very end of the game, you will find yourself with everything maxed. At least R10, besides the resonance, right? At least R10, everything is going to be maxed. Maybe not level 60, maybe we can get level 50, level 45, 30, especially the DPS, and maybe keep the healers and the other buffers and debuffs that are like level 15, 11, if you don't have too much money to waste. But eventually you will have fully built, fully completed characters to play the game with, because that's what the game kind of requires you to do. Okay, so that was the combat. Obviously, leave a comment if you need help, or if there is something that was confusing to you. Okay, or maybe if I forgot something. So now that was it for the combat. Let's move on to the next topic. Let's now talk about the daily routine, which is something that you do every day. You quickly do the dailies and then you log out. Let's say you don't want to play the game, but you still want to keep up. Oh, I don't feel like playing the game today, but I still want to do the daily, so I need to do the dailies. You go, and the loop is going to be very, very good in this game, because all you need to do is click on the character to farm some report, some bond. It's going to give you one of the daily things ticked. You go to the wilderness, and you click the characters that are now bonding. Click the characters, boom, that's one. Then you redeem the Dust Bell Tower and the Sharpodonti Market. Now you go back, that's done. Now you go to the panel of activities here, you rush the resources, you go to the depth analysis, you do the Pneuma analysis, 2 runs that are free every day, so you don't even use the stamina. You start the replay of whatever you cleared, and then you're done with that. Now you move on with, okay, now I need to use my stamina. What do I want to do? If you have a plan, you should do that. Otherwise, you should default to the the event. Go to enter and the event. You enter the event. You go to the max stage. You click this one. You go. Oh, it's not this one. It's the 18. You click this one, and now you go max difficulty. You start and you do the replay for this. It's going to take you like 2 or 3 runs to consume all of the stamina, because it's 80 every time. So depending on your account level, you're going to have more stamina cap. So if you're low level, maybe 1 run and you're done. But eventually you will reach close to 200 stamina max. And that's almost 3 runs, right? So that said, you go to higher difficulty, you spam that one, so you get your materials that then you can use for the shop. After you do this, and you buy everything, there's nothing else you can buy, you can also keep doing it and buy infinite materials that are here. They're a little expensive, but you could do that. It's an option. Or if you don't want to do it, if there aren't any infinite materials, you can go back and go farm whatever materials you need. Oh, okay, I want to farm a little bit of the bifurcated skeleton because I am pre-farming for a character, right? Oh, I need more of these. I know that 420 is pretty good. You go to 420, you clear the stage and you spend all of your stamina there trying to get the material. That is it for the daily routine. And you do this every day. You're going to get so much progress. You're going to clear everything. It's going to give you 90 crystals and a little bit of materials. By doing that, by day 3 or 4, maybe 5, you will be clearing the weekly as well. I already cleared 1 and 2, and today is Monday. So, you know, this is the daily routine, the daily routine for stamina. And from now you can close the game, right? That is the loop. It's pretty fast, and it keeps you up to speed by not having to do much. And now you can decide if you want to play something fun, like the roguelike or whatever, or if you want to do a raid, you want to try a different team, you want to play the event, you want to read the story, you want to do Limbo, whatever you want to do. But now you're done with the daily. So it doesn't take too much time, which is a plus in my opinion. That's it. Let's move to the next topic. We've talked about Psychube for a while now. We didn't go really deep into it. But what are the Psychube? The Psychube are the weapons, and they can be increased by level and upgraded to their ascension, their copies. Like the character have the copies of portraits up from 1 to 5, the Psychube has the same. So whenever you click a character, you have a new Psychube, you will have the ability to level it up and assign it to a character. Now, usually it's very simple to check which Psychube is needed, because usually they have their face. Recently, we've had Psychube that are basically made for the character that the patch is bringing on the gacha. So for Mercuria, it's going to have the Mercuria face in the Psychube, but when you start the game, you will have access to a random amount, like a varied amount of Psychubes that you don't know what they do, right? So which Psychube are the global ones you should probably get from your selector. Once you get it on day 5 or 6 or 7, you will be getting during the first 8 days of the logging in. You will be able to select one. What should you get? Because maybe you don't have Mercuria, right? So why you can use that one. So what should you get? You should probably get some globally good ones, and we can check them here. Now you will be having access to, I think, Blasphemer of Night, not this one, this, and maybe more that I don't have. So I feel like the good Psychube are going to be Inquisitive Deer for the healer, because this is a global healing Psychube that is going to give you more healing done, and when you do a debuff, this might not be possible depending on the healer that you're doing, but if you have Tooth Fairy, if you have Sotheby, this will work. Otherwise, you still get the healing done in the stats, you just won't have the buff here what this one trigger. Though, that said, it's still a pretty good one. Now, you could get this one for critical characters. When carry 1 target attack scores a critical hit, you get more critical damage, gives you critical rate, but it's not like the ideal global one that you can get. That said, you can get this one. The Brave New World or Hopscotch, that's another one, are the global ones you should be getting, and they basically do the opposite. Like this one is going to give you Ultimate Might and Incantation here, and the other one, Hopscotch, is going to give you Incantation Might here and Ultimate Might on the Amplification. The stats are going to be the same, and I don't have the one because I quickly got this one. This one is really good for characters that have a really big damage ult. For example, if you happen to have Melania, if you happen to have Spathodia, characters that do a lot of damage, you're going to have a lot of ultimate damage coming from this Psychube, and it's really, really good. So, Luxurious Leisure, if you have a way of getting it, or if you have enough to buy it, you should probably have a thought about it. The other Psychube are mostly needed for whoever they represent on their picture, but you could use some. For example, I believe if you have Spathodia, this one can be used on other characters because it's general enough, is broad enough, the buff of amplification, that can be used for almost everybody, because you just need a buff on you, and this can be done by everybody. Everybody can run with a buffer. You get buffed, and now you're using this buff, right? So uses this amplification power. So some of those are really good. So other ones are just specific for the character, and you cannot use them anywhere else, sadly, but that's how it is. Now, you could still use them as a stat stick. The only thing you will be losing would be the amplification. Not always you care about the amplification. So if you are in dire need and you have some free Psychube that do something, who cares? Use them anyway. All that you need is the attacks, the stats here that are going to help you a lot. Even if you miss the amplification, it's going to be fine. So if you happen to have some free Psychube here and there that are from characters that are not compatible for the amplification, you can still use them. It's still a pretty high quality, high ranking 6-star Psychube that is going to give you way more stats compared to a 5-star one. That said, there are some 5-star Psychube that you could buy with because they don't use the gold fragment. They use the other one, the one you get a ton of, the thought element. By the way, this is hopscotch. You should buy it. It's called Yearning Desire. Yearning Desire is really good 5-star Psychube that you should be getting as soon as possible, because this is going to help you, and it's really easy for you to deal damage with this one. When a character attacks, if the target has stats down or negative status, so if you have a debuffer, you can do this one. If you're using poison, if you have Sotheby, this is going to help you, and you only need 1 stat down or 1 negative status. So by improving this one, you will be able to have a pretty good amount of power coming from a non-max rarity Psychube that you can easily buy 12 of, right? So you can just buy 5, you can just buy 6, I believe, or 5 to get them to max level. It's only 1,000. Or you could use from the Anectode coming available right now. If from the Anectode you will get 1 greed. It's not gluttony, it's the gluttony version of a 5-star. So if you're a new player, you should be able to get greed for free, at least 1, and improve even more that amplification to the next level. So keep in mind that some Psychube are really good. If you don't have them, you can use some stat sticks for the easy ones, the free ones that you happen to get. You can get 1 free one from the selector. You should buy from the selector. You should get either Brave New World or Hopscotch, maybe Hopscotch first. Or if you already have a powerful one that you got somewhere, maybe you're not playing on 2.0, maybe you're playing on another patch, you have Lucy with their Psychube, but you now need a healing Psychube, then you should get Inquisitive Deer. Inquisitive Deer should be in everybody's account regardless. Maybe even Yearning Desire and these two. They're going to help you. You can put them everywhere you want and they will work, okay? So that was more or less very broad, very generalized topic about the Psychube, but it should help you a little bit. Again, if you have any question, leave a comment about it with the timestamp when I'm talking about this, because I won't remember, and I will try to help you, okay? So that was it for the Psychubes. Now let's end with the final topic, future planning. The future planning is something very important that every new player should work towards and look and plan depending according to the character that you happen to have on your account. Maybe you got lucky and you don't need a healer. Maybe you got lucky and you don't need a buffer. Maybe you got unlucky and you don't need anybody else, you just need a DPS, right? So in that case, you should try and look, because we are behind CN, behind China patch, and they are ahead of us. So we know who's coming for now. But we know who's coming. So knowing who's coming is very important for you to use your pools in a smart way. Do not waste too many. Save if you can, because there are some very powerful characters coming in 2 patches. There are some insanely powerful limited characters. There are some really good normal characters coming in 2.2. There are some poison characters coming in 2.1. There are some raid specific characters coming in the second part of 2.1. The next character coming here is going to be a burn character that is a little bit niche, but Still usable, but it is niche, so I wouldn't really pull him, to be honest. If you're a new player, you will regret it most of the time. If you're not fighting a AoE, you will regret it, in my opinion, but you can do whatever you want. At the end of the day, this is just a suggestion. So you should be worrying about who are you pulling. So when we go to the summon, you will see here, you will have more banners, but you will also have these characters. So on these characters, what it's important to understand is that the Yearning of the Water is going to be, it's like a bait banner. It's going to entice you to pull on it because it's going to be discounted, but the pulls done here do not transfer to the next account, to the next banner. Do not transfer to the next banner. So if you happen to be unlucky, now it's minus 60 pulls and it's going to destroy your savings. So do not pull on this banner unless you're a gambling addict and you can't avoid it, and then in that case, good luck. This is the character that you should be pulling. Why? Even though she's not a DPS, even if you need a DPS, you should still pull Mercuria, because this is going to be a future-proof character that you can, even though at the moment it's not going to be very easy to make her fully functional in every team. However, in the future, we will get a lot of options for her to shine. So the character coming in 2.2 called Anjonala is going to be the perfect pair to make her work really well without much improvements on the characters, right? You don't have to get copies thanks to that. In 2.3, we will also get a specific Psychube that helps her even more and gives her even more power. So that said, you should try to pick up this character. She buffs a lot. She improves the card's ranking. She keeps up her cosmic energy. The cosmic energy is going to give critical rate, incantation might. She's going to get a lot of moxie. She also can heal a little bit with her normal attacks. She can buff. She can also increase the card level, fake card level, which gives her more power and more easiness of keeping up the cosmic power up. So it's a really big buffer that is going to help you. And even if now feels like you're not getting too much out of her, in the future you will get more and more and more power and value from this character. So you should probably do your pulls on this banner, try to get the characters. You will also, if you're lucky, get at least one copy of Charlie, which is a good star DPS for you as a new player. If you happen to get 3 Charlies, it could be. If you happen to get 4 Charlies and you get Charlie to P3, she is now a very, very viable unit that you can keep for a very long time. My Charlie is still amongst the top of the characters that are more leveled up. So she will be really strong. So if you happen to have multiple Charlies while pulling for Mercuria, that is a win. Okay, so you should pull for that one. Now, Gaetian, it's a good option, but it's for the reality character. So if you don't have any reality character, sure, he can help you because you can also get Balloon Party, which is a healer, from his pulls. It's fine, I think. It's not a bad pull, but if you are going for the limited characters, Anjonala, and you want like more future-proof character buffer, then you should go for Mercuria. Gaetian is still very viable to this day, even in CN, but considering Anjonala is another beast, and she's not a main DPS, she could be a main DPS, but she's not used as a main DPS, she's used as a support sub DPS, which does a ridiculous amount of damage for the role that she is. You will not have space for Gaetian, basically. So even though Gaetian is a good unit, it's going to be a little... Eventually, you're not going to have a place for him. Unless you want to main him, you like him, and you want to use him every time. And then in that case, yes, you could do that, and it still would be a nice choice. So, but I would rather you go for Mercuria because it's going to be a character that you can use multiple teams. As long as you have characters that are able to increase their incantation or able to attack multiple times per turn for free, that's where Mercuria is going to be shining. If you don't get any copies. So this is a little bit of a future character, future sight. In 2.1 we will get a poison character and a raid character. So if you want to start, if you like the poison concept of Genesis damage having a lot of dot exploding, You want to pick up that character, and in that case, if you want to pick up that character and you don't care about the synergy between Mercury, etc., you might even skip the whole patch and wait for Tuesday, which is the character that poison. Or if you don't like Tuesday, you would like to get a character that does really well in raids, you should then get Argus. So there are characters that you should worry about. You can check them online, check what they do, check gameplay. I made a lot of gameplay about them. A lot of we use them all the time on stream. So ask me anything you want to know. That concludes the video. Hopefully it was of any help. Hopefully I didn't forget anything. I'm pretty sure I told you everything I know and everything we do as veterans. So thank you for watching. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have any questions. Join my Discord if you have a lot of questions, because we have a very active community in R99 and also other gachas. So if you play gachas in general, you should consider joining Discord. You know, it's always a good idea to connect with people. You're gonna have a lot of people always there replying to you, helping you out, linking you stuff. We have a lot of pinned messages with a lot of resources. So give it a thought. Join my Discord, and consider following my stream at twitch.tv/Jakazin. If you made it here, here's a phrase for you. I am God. Type I am God in chat, so it's gonna in the comments if you made it here, and I will know. I will know. No one is gonna know. Everyone is going to be like, what the hell are they saying? Why are they saying I am God? Why are they saying that for? Type that in the comments if you made it here, or if you happen to listen to this, because at the end, it's not. No one is gonna. I could say anything here right now. We are in the free zone. No one is listening now. There's like 3 people: me, you, and that other guy listening right now. So that is it though for today's video. Thank you for watching, and hopefully I helped you. And see you next time.